Welcome to The Stacks, a podcast about books and the people who read them. I'm your host, Tracy Thomas, and it is June Book Club Day. And we are discussing the much talked about, extremely controversial pick, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I am joined again by debut author Melissa Mogollon, whose book Oye came out earlier this year. Today, Melissa and I try to tackle all of the topics that come up when reading It Ends With Us. We discuss domestic violence representation, if this book is in fact a romance, why we think Colleen Hoover is as famous as she is, the film adaptation, and a lot more. There are a ton of spoilers on this episode, so please do not listen unless you have read the book or love a spoiler. Make sure to listen through to the end of today's episode to find out what our July book club selection will be. Quick reminder, everything I talk about on today's episode and each episode of The Stacks can be found in the link in the show notes. If you love today's episode, if you love The Stacks, if you want more of it, head over to patreon.com/The Stacks and join The Stacks Pack. This month, obviously, we're doing this book club conversation, but we don't hit every single topic on today's episode. We are going to discuss this book even more over in the Stacks Pack for the Stacks Pack virtual book club, which we do every month, where we get together, we talk about the book in detail. If you join the Stacks Pack over on Patreon, you can come to that conversation. You also get access to our Discord, where we discuss all sorts of stuff, including our book club picks, and you get bonus content like an additional monthly episode, access to the nonfiction reading guide, the mega challenge. It's a lot of good stuff. It costs $5 a month. Also, your $5 goes towards supporting the show, making it possible for me to do it every single week. So if any of that sounds like stuff that you want, that you'd like, that you'd be interested in, go to patreon.com/The Stacks. And here is a shout out to some of our newest members of the Stacks Pack: Hannah Hudson, Carmen Whitenbach, Caitlin D, Jennifer Rashavi, Delari Doshi, Kristen Sinclair, Mario Aguilar, and Jenna Doherty. Thank you all so much. And thank you to the entire Stacks Pack. Now, listen, if you're like, I don't want to be part of a bookish community, I just want some extra bonus content, I got you covered. Go to tracythomas.substack.com. Check out my newsletter, Unstacked. A lot of hot takes, a lot of bookish content, food, pop culture, all of that. Okay, now it's time for my spoiler-filled conversation with Melissa Mogollon about It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Okay, everybody, I have just logged on the Google Meet with author Melissa Mogollon, who wrote Oye. It is the Stacks Book Club Day. We are going to discuss It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. She and I have not spoken a single word about this book yet. We literally logged on. I said, I'm going to start recording right now. So first, before we say anything else, Melissa, welcome back.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So excited. Second thing I will say, we are going to spoil this book. I know for some of you, you're literally only here to hear us spoil this book. You have no plans of reading it. I know for some of you, you are Coho fans and you are excited to hear what other people think. You're going to be disappointed. And I know for some of you, you generously read along with us, and I thank you for coming on this Coho journey. With that being said, we always start here. Just generally, general. What did you think of this book, Melissa?
It made me really sad. For reasons we can unpack, but I will say it was a roller coaster. I feel like I went through all the stages of grief. I like anger, denial, acceptance, clarity. And then at the end, I was just like, I'm sad for a lot of women that this did so, that this touched a lot of people and that this story resonated with them.
Okay, we are gonna talk about why this book, Colleen Hoover in general. Here's my general thoughts. I shockingly did not hate this as much as I thought I was going to. I thought I was going to come into this book and be like, burn it all down. I burned a lot of it down for sure. Like there was fire, okay? There was fire. But like, I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. I will not read another Colleen Hoover book likely in my life, but I was generally pleased. I think not please. I was generally okay. I survived, I should say. The domestic violence piece of this book, we will spend a lot of time on because not only do I have questions, thoughts, doubts, and feelings, but also there is a lot of online chatter about it that I think is maybe unfair a little bit. So we're going to get into that. We will talk about some of the storytelling elements. We will also hopefully talk about like why Colleen Hoover is so big, how she is so big. How could this be possible? Obviously, you've never read any other of her books, right?
No.
Me neither. So we're basing all of these opinions on her total career off of this one book. For people who have not read the book, let me give you a quick plot summary. Not even summary, just the general premise. Lily, Blossom, Bloom, the names in this book. Holy shit, the names.
Yeah.
Lily Blossom Bloom is a 23-year-old gal who lives in Boston. She's from Maine. Her father recently died. She gave the eulogy. Oh my God, it was so crazy. I've never heard anything so crazy. Her mother's still around. She lives in Boston. She works at a marketing firm, but she loves flowers. So, because her name is Lily Blossom Bloom. How could you not? She meets a guy on a rooftop. He is named Ryle Kincaid. They start flirting on this rooftop. He's hot. He's a neurosurgeon. He's a neurosurgeon resident, actually, which we should talk about. And they start playing this game called Naked Truths, where they tell each other just like the truth about each other, about what they're thinking. They start dating, obviously, because this is a romance, which we should also talk about. And we learn about Lily's backstory, which is that her dad is abusive to her mom. Her next door neighbor is actually an 18-year-old boy who goes to her high school who is squatting in the house next door because he's been kicked out by his parents. But they refer to him as homeless, the homeless guy, constant homeless guy energy, which cringe. His name is Atlas Corrigan. Like the fucking names. That's her first love. They fuck. But only the day she turns 16 because the age of consent in Maine is 16. I looked it up. I was like, why are we so concerned about her 16th birthday? Then Ryle becomes abusive, just like her dad. So that's where I'll leave you. That's the premise of the book.
You forgot something.
What did I forget?
Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh my God. Ellen DeGeneres is the main character of this book, but off stage. We never get to hear from Ellen directly. But Lily, in high school, writes a journal. They're called the Ellen Diaries because she writes them to Ellen DeGeneres. Because of the Ellen Show. She loves Ellen Show. And while I hate this choice so much, I did love The View in high school and did watch it every day.
Yeah.
So like, I get it. Like there's parts of this book that are so bad and embarrassing, but also like, no, I remember that from high school. So like, as much as I hated reading those passages, I was like, well, I could see a high schooler being in love with Ellen or like upset. But you're right. I did forget that.
Oh my God. It was really hard to not interrupt you every sentence that you were doing the synopsis with my reaction. Incredible job.
You can always interrupt me. I mean, let's just start with the thing that was the most difficult for me to get my head around, which was the names.
Lily Blossom Bloom. So much to say there.
Say something.
What was her mom's name? Do we ever know?
Jenny. I think her mom's name was Jenny.
Jenny.
Yeah, we found out like after the first page. On the second page.
Something that Colleen Hoover, I don't know if it was intentional, but like did so brilliantly is I felt almost like carpet bombed by the first chapter. Like there was just like the names, the plot, the right. Like there was just so that I began to suspend. I began to accept so much, but then it almost like got even more unreal. And so I was like, okay, this is like my line for reality kept.
Yes. I accepted a lot more than I normally would. Okay, the mother was Jenny and the father was Andrew. And Ryle's siblings were Alyssa or Elisa. Right. I couldn't tell because her nickname was like Lissa, but I wasn't sure if it was Lissa or Lisa. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was calling her Alyssa. And then the brother is Emerson. So the first chapter is fucking wild. I mean, the first sentence starts with a line about suicide, right? Like, it's just like, I think the first note I took was, okay, I guess we're doing this.
Yep.
Like, yep. I said, excuse me, suicide on page 1, paragraph 1. Wow. Okay, let's go. That was my first note. Just like, here we are.
And before I even started this, I just did a brief skim on Wikipedia on like who Colleen Hoover was, because I really was approaching this text with like zero preconceived notions. I just knew she was like extremely famous. And then I saw that in her Wikipedia, she says this was the hardest book she ever had to write. And I was like, whoa. And all I knew.
Did you see why?
Well, I thought it was just a romance. And so I was like, once we got to the domestic abuse or that stuff started like really taking shape, I was like, what the fuck am I reading? Like, I thought this was like a romance book. So that the DV completely caught me off guard. But like, when we meet Ryle, like first, and they're so taken by each other for some reason, which of course I bought into, but like it doesn't make any sense. He's like beating a chair. He's like kicking it.
Yeah. Ryle is a walking red flag. And so here's what I will give her credit for. I will give Colleen Hoover a lot of credit for making Ryle attractive to her audience for so long. Like, I was rooting for them, even as I'm reading like some of the red flags. Not when he starts hitting her, right? Like as soon as he like breaks the casserole dish and like punches her in the face and knocks her down, like, I was sort of like, yeah, like, you know, I was with, like, I think at about 100 pages in, I text my friends and I was like, I get it. I'm going. I'm like, this is so bad. It's good. Like, I was like, I'm here. Once the domestic violence comes in, I sort of felt like I had to make a choice about what was happening to me I sort of was like, I can't go with this. Like, I can't enjoy this in the same way that I was enjoying, like, I'm dating a neurosurgeon and he wears scrubs and he has the best hands in Boston, right? Like, I just couldn't, there's a lot of dancing there. I couldn't enjoy it in that same way, but to the point, like, she makes Ryle seem attractive enough that I did want it to work out with them. And like, before he ever hits her or anything, I was rooting for him over Atlas. Like, I was out on Atlas. I'm not into dirty people. I got to be honest.
I was a big Atlas fan. I'm like, and I'm still rooting for Atlas. I loved him from the jump. I never really liked Ryle, but I was really big team Atlas. But can we talk about Boston? Like, why Boston?
Yes.
Why
Boston?
Did you envision everyone in this world like was like really heavy Boston accents? Like, that was another thing that was hysterical.
Well, no, because none of them were from Boston.
But like their surrounding worlds, like what they hear at dinner, with like everywhere they go, like they're in Boston, which is hysterical to me.
Right. No, I just thought Boston was a weird choice because all it needed to be was she's from a small town. She moves to the nearest city. So I was interested that she picked Boston. I don't know if Colleen Hoover has a Boston thing. She's from Texas, Colleen Hoover. And I thought, like, couldn't she have done this in Houston? Because Houston also has a big medical situation. Like, Boston is like known for its doctors. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. But like, so is Houston. Like, Houston has a bunch of medical centers. I think Atlanta is like the baby birthing capital of the country. Like, there are other places that have a lot of medical facilities.
And Boston is like famously extremely expensive. And so like opening up a brick and mortar flower shop in your mid 20s is
early 20s. She's 23.
And then Atlas like is able to, I guess he's not coming from generational poverty, but like he's definitely coming from like zero, because his family abandoned him. And so he's able to like open up his own restaurant. And then the best friend, like her husband also came from nothing and is a techno billionaire and is able to own a whole, it's just so much money is like,
well, hilarious. They're all rich, but they also all hate being rich. Like, there's like all those lines where Marshall's the brother-in-law or the Alyssa's husband. Marshall is like, you sound like a rich girl. I'm like, you just told me you make $6 million a year. Like, you don't get to hate rich people. Like, you're rich. Your wife talks about we have people for that every other page. Like,
oh my gosh. Oh, that stuff.
But like, that doesn't bother me if you own it. If it's like, oh, right. They're like, we're rich, like we worked hard, we got here, we're rich. But like, also what doesn't make sense to me about Alyssa is that she's never worked a day in her life, but also she's not rich, but she never worked a day in her, like, so how could she have gotten to being an adult without ever having to work? And also, how is she the best, most like disciplined, hardworking employee ever, and she's never had a job? Like, she was just born to work.
That's probably the biggest plot hole of the whole book. Just like
Alyssa.
Ethic. Yeah.
Alyssa is a huge red flag in this book for me. I hate Alyssa because not only does she have this like insane work ethic, hates rich people, but is filthy rich, but has like money, people for that. She also enables Ryle constantly. She's the reason we find out what happens with the brother. She's the reason she supports him buying an apartment for his wife and him to live in without mentioning it to the wife. That is abusive behavior. Her best friend.
I think I threw the book at that scene when he's like, here are the keys. And I'm like, no.
And she's the one who's like, come over. Remember, she's like, come over. I want to shop furniture with you. And then it's like, come downstairs to this apartment. And then it's like, oh, surprise. My brother bought you an apartment that you didn't ask for. And like, it's so manipulative.
Do women want that? Like, do women want that for men? I don't know. I don't. I would like to pick where I'm living. Thank you. I'd like to know. But also, I mean, that's like a red flag of him, right? He's controlling her. It's her apartment they're living in. He wants to be in control of the space. She has nowhere else to go now, right? Like, it's like typical domestic violence, whatever. But wait, I have to go back to the first chapter. Yeah, sorry.
So they have this game, this Naked Truths game, which the moment I read that line, I started a tally of how many times Naked Truth comes up in the book after the first chapter. So I gave her all the references in the first chapter, but I just knew, I was like, this is going to come up. 22 times. 22 times they reference Naked Truth. Are you ready for a naked truth?
And she's like, hey,
Ryle. Handle a naked truth?
Yeah.
Ryle, we have to talk. Naked truth time.
Like
I can't wait to see the movie. It's the whole script is just gonna be Naked Truth time.
Like, they're gonna imagine them in court over custody of their child, and they're gonna be like, and now for like Ryle Kincaid's testimony, he's like, Naked Truth time, Judge. No.
Yeah. When we were doing Naked Truth time, this is what she told me. But it is a genius storytelling convention for a first chapter of a book because you just get all that backstory out. She's like, my dad's abusive. This thing, he mentioned that he has a patient who just died, who's like a kid, whose brother shot him. And then she's like, could you imagine being that brother? And on page 18, I took a note. I said, Ryle killed his brother. I said, Ryle's brother is dead and Ryle was there. I didn't know it was the exact same thing, but I literally was like 18. Ryle killed his brother.
Ryle killed his brother.
But she sets it up. I mean, the foreshadowing in this.
I know. Also, in this first chapter is which felt so out of her character once I knew more of Lily, but when she was trying to be provocative and tells Ryle, like, I've only had one night stand in my life. This is like how the audiobook is voiced.
Oh, yeah.
Ryle, I've only had one night stand in my life. It was with a homeless person. I was like, what is this? You actually can't. First of all, he wasn't homeless. It was experience. Yeah. He was squatting, like you said.
Yeah.
But it's not like this man was like an adult on the street or a child on the street. Like his mom had recently abandoned him. He was trying to finish school. It felt so weird. There were so many shocks, like as we're saying in this first chapter.
But was that a one-night stand? You were friends with him and hung out and made out. You were in a relationship with a homeless person.
Yeah.
If we're going to use okay, let's just talk about Atlas for a second. We'll come back to the DV. So Atlas is the boy next door, but he's homeless, which is so fun.
Yeah.
I think that was what pissed me off about the homeless stuff, is that she was writing about it like it was like, ha ha ha, he was homeless. Mm-hmm. And like, it just doesn't make sense with the story at all. Like that tone, like Lily, who's our narrator, it's first person, right? First person. Yeah. First person. She would never trivialize his
No.
experience. But the way that it's written, it's like, yeah, I like, it's even on the first section when she's talking about her dad's funeral. And she says, whatever, my dad was the mayor, husband of the highly adored Jenny Bloom, and then father of Lily Bloom, that strange girl with the erratic red hair who once fell in love with a homeless guy and brought great shame upon her entire family. Like, and then she's like, that's me. I'm Lily.
Yeah. It was so weird. And the way we characterized Lily in this first chapter, I did find so confusing because I wasn't picturing her as this like person that Ryle Kincaid would see on a rooftop and just be like, I haven't stopped thinking about you since because I was so taken by your beauty. Like she characterized herself as this like scrappy girl. And so I was really confused. Blake Lively is playing her in the show. Like that makes sense.
I had Blake Lively in my head, but have you seen the pictures of her? They have her looking ragamuffin.
Yes,
like
and I
the
think
hair.
Fixed it.
Oh, they did?
They just dropped the trailer. I know, actually, no, they didn't just drop it. I think they dropped it in like, I don't know when, but I saw the trailer recently.
And she looked hotter.
She looked better. It wasn't like weird hair wig going on. It was
because they had her dressed frumpy.
That's another thing. I'm like, this is actually how I pictured Lily Bloom in the book.
You pictured her frumpy.
I pictured her frumpy based on her own self-perception, how she's describing herself and whatever. And so I was like, really, like this like neurosurgeon hot in the city, like he's like hasn't seen a bunch of girls that he would find hotter by his definition.
Right. Yeah. I pictured her hot because I knew Blake Lively was playing her, and I happen to love Serena from Gossip Girl with all my heart. So I just
Blake
basically
Lively is
pictured
extremely
Serena.
hot. Yeah,
she's so hot. I didn't see the pictures till after I finished reading, and I was like, oh, bummer for me. I was expecting hot. And I know people on TikTok feel that. What people on TikTok were like freaking out about it, but more just because I want my romance films and television to be just hot people looking hot. I don't want them to be regular. Like I don't care.
Especially with this. Like if I'm in this genre and in this kind of world, it's like my reality stars. I need them to look like straight off the streets of LA. And
I want hot. I want to be with you. All of you. I want to be with the men. I want to be with the women. I want to be with Jenny Bloom, I guess. Like everybody. So, Jenny Bloom better be hot. No, Jenny Bloom is played by a really well-known theater actress who's actually a fucking amazing actress. So I'm excited about that.
She's hilarious. Yeah. Is it Jenny? Oh no, wait. I don't know.
No, that's Alyssa. Jenny Slate's playing Alyssa, I think.
Oh, okay, got it.
I was just thinking about Atlas, but I can't even remember.
You hate Atlas. I see it in your face. You hate him.
You know what? I do. It's too sweet. It's too sweet for me. I'm just not into it. I'm not into the knight in shining armor shit. And that's what he is. But also, the whole, like, we watch Ellen together, that whole thing was unattractive.
The weirdest foreplay in America.
Yeah, it's a big turnoff for me. Also, children. Like, I'm not into 19-year-old boys, or 18-year-old boys. So, like, to me, I'm just like, I'm not into this story. When he shows up in the real world, I think the note I took was, Atlas is here, let's fucking go. So like I was juiced to see Atlas as an adult, but Atlas as a teenager, all of that, I'm like, and then he told me the girls in Boston. I'm like, I don't care about the girls in Boston, better in Boston. Like, no. Also, I envisioned him as being like an extremely pale white boy, which is also a huge turnoff for me. Did you see the movie Challengers?
I haven't seen it, but I know the cast.
Okay. Yeah. So the one, I actually like the extremely pale white guy in that movie, but the other one, the dirty one who played Prince Charles in The Crown, he's who I was sort of envisioning for Ryle, and he is also described, or for Atlas, and he is also described in the movie as like being stinky, and like stinky is just such a turnoff for me. And they were like, oh, he smells, which I get because he's living in a home. Like I understand why, but like, again, I just want hot people, and stinky is not hot for me. So I was like, ooh, Atlas, I don't like you. But anyways, so his stepdad is abusive. We find this out. This is out of order, but we find out his stepdad is abusive. His mom kicks him out because she's trying to preserve that relationship. He goes and squats at the house next door that's abandoned because he wants to finish school. And we get this. Okay, let's talk about this. Colleen Hoover talks about how she doesn't teach in her books and she's just here to entertain. But there are so many moments where she editorializes something like political in like the preachiest, teachiest ways. And one of that is the homeless diatribe that Lily, when she like asks asks Atlas
You're
about his
so right.
homelessness.
Yeah.
Where she, I mean, I you can't, people at home can't say it, but I underlined so many things where she's like, Ellen. So, this is all to Ellen. There were 3 shelters in a 20-mile radius of our town, but 2 of them were for battered women. The other one was a homeless shelter, but they only had a few beds, and it was far away for him to walk if he wanted to go to school every day. Plus, you have to wait in a long line and try to get a bed. He said he tried it once, but he feels safer in that old house than he did at a shelter, right? Which is like, Colleen Hoover's like, I did research about shelters and people, they're not comfortable.
Yes. And I will push back and say, maybe we're being generous by giving the read that she was aiming to educate. I think she was defending. It was like, if you reader are curious as to why this child is, what, you know, in this situation, this is why he's not in all these other scenarios that you're probably thinking.
Yes. Yeah. Right. But to me, that's like such editorializing. Like, why would this character write this? Like, it's like the longest journal entry. I mean, it goes on. It's pages and pages.
That's what the Ellen diary is for. It's like she created this technique to fill in holes for the reader that like wouldn't come up organically in these scenes. And so it's really, it was, I mean, it's similar to what I did in my own book. It just, you give a space for like the character's thoughts to exist, but it gives you this already embedded space to put so much, like build so many things for the reader. Yeah.
It's like fill in holes. I mean, this whole section ends with I thought homeless people were homeless because they were lazy or drug addicts or just didn't want to work like other people. And then later in the paragraph, she says they're homeless because there isn't enough help to go around.
Okay,
which forms one of Lily's. Yeah. It's like Lily then becomes like obsessed with people donating to charity. If you do not donate to charity, you can't know Lily.
Oh my God.
You can't be around.
Oh my God.
It's like, she's like, my dad was a bad person because he didn't donate to charity. I was like, no, your dad was a bad person because he was beating the shit and raping his wife. Like, baby girl, he could have been donating to charity. He still would have been bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's so, but like this becomes, she asks Ryle, she asks Atlas, she asks Alyssa.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what do you donate to, Lily?
Yeah.
Sign me up for your charity, girl. You don't know nothing?
She has this very, I mean, and it continues through the whole book, this like very childlike way of looking at the world. And I do think like that is what appealed to a lot of readers. Like, I think almost like they like when things are black and white, even though so much of this book is actually about nuance. And I think the message hit with a lot of people because it was like, you know, people aren't just bad. Sometimes bad people do good things and good people do bad things. But I do think like so much of what people liked about Lily specifically, because I've seen a lot of people like love her story, and that was that she almost like had this very strict moral compass that helped her guide through. Yeah.
The complexity with Lily really isn't there.
No.
There's complexity, I think, with her in the sense that like she's trying to figure things out. So you get her going back and forth, but she's pretty clean and clear and under control. Like she's pretty, like she's not fucking up. Let's take a quick break and let's dive into domestic violence. Valentine's Day is upon us and I've got love on the brain. Love for books. Duh, of course. Hello. Did you forget what podcast you're listening to? I love bringing you all great reads, exclusive author interviews, and behind the scenes book gossip. But I can only do that with your support over on Patreon and Substack. Our Stacks Patreon community, also known as the Stacks Pack, is where you can go for book club meetups, a private, very active Discord, and a year-long mega reading challenge to help you achieve all your reading goals. Plus, you also get that monthly bonus episode. Now, over on the Substack, you can subscribe to my newsletter, Unstacked, where I keep the book conversations going. I also give you a healthy dose of sports and pop culture, definitely some hot takes happening over there. And again, that bonus episode. If you don't have a few dollars to spare, don't worry. There are free options on the Substack and the Patreon to get you a little extra Stacks magic. Making this podcast is a total team effort, and by supporting my Patreon and my Substack, you allow me to support my amazing team that makes the show possible every single week. So if you or your friends are looking to meet other book lovers and support this indie podcast, come hang out with me on Patreon, Substack, or both. I would love to have you. And since we're talking about love, you can gift subscriptions to the Patreon and the Substack for that special reader in your life. For the Stacks Pack, head to patreon.com/thestacks. And for the newsletter, head to tracythomas.substack.com. And also, there are links to both in the show notes. Okay, see you in the stacks. Okay, we're back. We're going to do the domestic violence thing. So before I ever read this book, I knew this book had to do with domestic violence, but I didn't know how or why. And what I had seen on the internet was people say, like, this book is horrible. It romanticizes domestic violence. It glorifies it, whatever. I also had seen that she had written the book about her parents. So without knowing anything about the book besides those things, that's how I sort of entered the book. And I'm curious if you felt like this book romanticized domestic violence.
I wouldn't think that's the word I would use. I think it's actually a pretty realistic take of some relationships, like in I forgot the term for when it's your close partner.
Intimate partner violence.
Yes. Yeah. Where like, and I think she actually staged it really clearly, where it was like the first time it happened, she told herself if it happened again, I wouldn't do it. Second time it happened, she was like, whoa, what am I going to do? It took a really long time. We add the element of the child. And then ultimately she comes to this epiphany of, this is what I want to do. So I didn't think she actually glamorized it or romanticized it. And I can just answer that and we can talk later. Okay.
So I actually agree with you. I was surprised by, I think, how well it's actually handled considering the genre, the book, like the writer. I don't know that, like, if this is literary fiction, I don't know that it's held to the same standard that romance is, right? Like, I think we all know that romance is a genre that people really shit on. They expect it to, like, in a lot of cases, people read romance to escape. So they expect it to be easy to consume or like fun to consume. Like, it's a kind of, we talked about Grey's Anatomy a lot, you and I, and like, part of what's great about Grey's Anatomy is that even when it's difficult stuff, it's easy to consume, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it goes down easily. And I think that is like why a lot of people like romance. That's what I like the most when I read romance. I'm like, I just want it to go down easy. Even if it's like a grief romance or whatever, I still want it to go down smooth. And so I think whereas like with literary fiction, I think the expectation is that it's going to be difficult or challenging. You have to think a lot. And so I think given the constraints of like, this is romance and there's an expectation from the reader, I actually thought she handled it really well. I thought she was going to end up with Ryle. I thought she was going to forgive him. And so I was like, holy fucking shit. I am not, because I had heard she romanticizes it. So in my mind, and it's a romance, and that was the central love story. So I just thought like, okay, this is where we end up. But I didn't hate the domestic violence representation. Like, no. I think we see this woman who loves this man who is a monster to her. And like, we see him be charming. We see him be handsome because he wears scrubs. We see him be like charming to the sister and to Lily's mom. We see him have red flags. We see him fuck up. We see him be manipulative. Like, I think we get a very good picture of Ryle is not a good person for Lily to be with because he's not a good person for anyone to be with because he has issues. I think there are parts where she sort of forgives him a little bit too much. Like she's generous with his problems. Like there's a part where Lily is like, he can't control himself. And I didn't love that because actually we've seen him control himself with everyone else in the book. He's not violent with anyone else. He is not like, he doesn't lose his temper with anyone else, right? And like, I think that's a great also like depiction of people who are in these kind of relationships where they make these excuses for people. Yeah. But I don't particularly like that excuse because I think that that's something that a reader can read and be like, yeah, he can't control himself and not think critically about that. And to me, I'm just like, well, no, he can. He's a fucking neurosurgeon. Like, is he beating up his patients? Yeah. Is he beating up, like anytime he has a bad outcome? Yeah. Beating up a chair. Fine. But like your girlfriend, maybe not.
Yeah. That's mostly my beef with the domestic abuse is there were so many moments as a reader before we even got to the DV part where I was like, this is not someone I'd want dating someone I love for reasons
Mhm.
like we haven't even gotten there. And it was fine if Lily hadn't seen it yet because the whole point of the book is her arc and her growth. But I had
Right.
wished at the end when she like arrived to the space of this is not the way I want to be treated, that maybe just like one paragraph, just one of like a few things that she said you wish you would have noticed in the beginning that she was actually charmed by,
Yes.
but really that was a red flag.
Yes, I agree, because also it's not like the book is short. It's almost 400 pages. She has all these editorializing the homeless
Ellen,
chapter.
yeah.
The Ellen, like she could have made space for Lily to sort of have this moment. We get to see Lily be a strong woman, air quotes, but I would have liked to hear Lily say like, I'm a strong woman. Like I listen to Beyonce. Like I love it here.
Just keep swimming.
Yeah. Oh my God. I actually just watched that this weekend with my kids. They really like that movie.
It's a great movie. I love Finding Nemo.
It is a good movie.
Yeah.
I love Finding Nemo. But yeah, I don't think that the domestic violence representation was glorifying or romanticizing. I had some like little issues with it, like we just said, but the outrage around it, I found that to be very interesting because I don't, and I love to be outraged. Maybe it was so big that it tampered my own outrage about it, but like she doesn't end up with him. She is able to set clear boundaries. She's able to get out of the way. And I think the other part that people have questions about, which is that why would she let Ryle be alone with their kid? However, in the author's note at the end, Colleen Hoover says, this is sort of like my story. And I was raised around my dad and he beat up my mom, but he was never violent with me or my sisters. And so I think, she's telling one story and it sounds like that's a story that she knew and felt like it was possible to be an abusive husband and not be an abusive dad in that way. So I wouldn't have. As I was reading the book, I was like, why are you leaving? Why would you do that? Like, why are you leaving him alone? But I think like, I can't hate it. I don't like it, but I can't hate it. And I understand that some people are abusive to their spouses and not to their children, physically at least. We don't know what happens in 20 years when Emerson Dory Kincaid.
Horrible. That's a violence, that name. I do think the big major thing for me is like the attempted like sexual assault was like she does talk about how she can't be in the room with him. She's afraid of him. Like he magically disappears to another country for a long time because he wants to give her space. But I do feel like that level of like intentional cruelty and violence, that was really different than we see him like black out with anger and accidentally push her or like that was a premeditated act he was going to commit. And so I feel like that was an opportunity where like things could have felt differently, but it didn't. It felt like she got pushed again or
Right. And like, I think even for me, even more than that, it was the biting of her shoulder. That was where I was like,
same
that's
level
a
of
fucking
like
monster.
Yeah.
That's
like you don't want your kid around that, that's not like, that's,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I would not have left my kid with that person. I'm also very petty and mean. And I mean, I also, let's be honest, I also would have had an abortion. I would have.
Oh, yes. That's another thing. Like actually seeing through the pregnancy felt so weird for me based on the mental space she was in when she finds out.
Yes. And I think also like, to me, that had to do with audience, right? Like, I think Colleen Hoover is aware because this is like one of her middle books. I think her first book came out in 2012. She's not like she's not hugely famous like she is now at this point, but she has an audience. Like, she thanks her cohorts in the acknowledgement. So, like, there are people reading this book. So she must know that abortion is not on the table. Because there's also a part right before Ryle and Lily get married and they're on the plane to Vegas and they're going through their like list of things like we have to do this, we can have a kid, blah blah blah. And one of the things is he says, I don't care if you vote Democrat, Republican, or Independent, I just care that you vote. And that felt very much like Coho writing to audience. And I felt that with the abortion. Like it just never was on the table. There was never even a moment of like, do I want to have this person's kid? And I think that's got to be audience.
Yeah. I also wonder if like that was the decision around Boston too. It was just like a city beloved by potentially her readership. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Boston. Yeah. I mean, I have no idea. But yeah. Anyways, I would have aborted the baby. There would have been no question about having to be around that person.
Or like no one in the hospital offered, there were so many opportunities where options could have been presented.
Yeah.
Like they offered her a rape kit, didn't they?
Yes, they did. And she turned it down. But so he didn't rape her? Is that what we're supposed to believe?
He didn't. That's
how do we know that though? That's my take too. But like it was unclear just because
she says it to somebody. She's like, no, he didn't. Like he said something.
But didn't she black out and like wake up? How would she she says it in that scene with the rape kit, but he also told her that she fell down the stairs multiple times before he admitted that he pushed her. Like, she was blacked out. I don't know. I'm going to choose to believe that he didn't, but also I'm actually really going to choose to believe that he did because I want to see the worst in everyone. Okay. Emerson is the name. So Alyssa has a baby and names it Riley. Just Ryle with an extra E because she wants to name it after Ryle. And after the second DV moment where he pushes her down the stairs, Alyssa gets involved because she is an enabler and fuck her. Even if people like her, I don't care if Jenny Slate's playing her. She'll make her lovable, but don't buy it. She's bad. She is like, you need to tell her about Emerson, which is their brother. And the story is that they were playing in the garage. There was a gun. Ryle shot the brother by accident. Didn't know it was loaded. Very tragic story. Very tragic story. It comes out after this as a way for him to be like, I can't control my anger. Sometimes I just get so upset. I lash out. I'm in therapy. Okay, great. Not working. Get a new therapist. But also now you need to feel bad for me. And Lily does. And she's like, I don't know. He's trying. So she takes him back after that second time because of the fact that, and he says, she says, you need to walk away if I tell you to walk away. And he's like, I will. And then something happens where he does walk away. And then the next time he bites her. And then they name their baby Emerson after the dead brother, Dory after Finding Nemo, and then Kincaid. They give the dad's last name. I don't know if I knew that the father of my child had a triggering past that was unpredictable, if I would put that trauma on my unborn baby. Like, that feels so loaded for baby Emerson Dory. Emmy Dory. Also, they call her Emmy or Emma. And I'm just like, Emmy Dory? What is wrong with you people? Are names just a joke to Colleen Hoover?
Yes. And I didn't put two and two together until you just said it, that like the name could be incredibly triggering to Ryle, as that this is apparently the source of all his anger, which I don't believe nor understand the connection to at all. So, wow.
It's just a lot to put on that little baby girl. She's already born into a lot. Just give Sarah would have been a lovely name. Name her Jenny after your mother.
Well, she's like, where did my name come from? And they're like, well, your father accidentally shot and killed his younger brother. It was really horrible. It kind of defined and, broke his psyche, and he was unable to have any relationship afterward. And so we named.
Including with me, because he used to throw me down the stairs and hit me, and he bit me really hard and tried to rape me. But no, we love the name. It's a cute name, isn't it, honey? We could call you Emma or Emmy. So cute. So cute. Dory. Okay, I have to vent about a doctor thing, which you will appreciate because you have seen Grey's Anatomy.
Yes.
When we meet Ryle, he is finishing up his residency in neurosurgery.
Mm-hmm.
Later in the book, approximately 6 to 8 months later, he is solo surgerying a fucking separation of two conjoined twins at the brain. And he's like, I have the best hands in Boston. I'm like, my guy, you became a doctor 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
They're letting you just do this by yourself. No fucking chance. Okay. I am married to an actual doctor, a human doctor who has been practicing post-residency since 2016. Okay. They didn't let that guy, my husband, that guy, do solo anything for like 2 years almost. Like, you don't do that. And it really made me mad because he could have just been a doctor. Why was he a resident anyways? Why did we need that plot point? Also, you're not the best fucking doctor in Boston, my guy. You're 24 or no, he's 29. Like you just got here.
Why were the ages chosen that way? Why was Lily 23? Like why are they in their 20s?
I don't know. And also, I mean, maybe she was in her 20s because I sort of bought her being in her 20s because I was like, oh, she likes this older guy. This is like her first big relationship since Atlas. And she's like buying into this whole thing. Like, oh, I have to get married. Like, I feel like at 20, I mean, not exactly. I don't fully buy it, but I'm like, okay, maybe she's so young. She's so excited. She swept off her feet. But why? I honestly, I should do the math. I don't even know if you can become a brain surgeon fully because I think you have to do a fellowship.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's just like, and it was like, oh, I'm at the end of my 2 years. I'm like, your 2-year residency? No, you're not. Yeah. I think that residency is like 6 years. It's long. Anyways,
also, I want to hear about your coworker. Like, tell me about your hospital. Like, I was like, who are you? Who are you in the trenches with? Like, tell us that. Yeah. I want like some weird cheating scandal with one of the coworkers.
Yeah, I needed more. I wish we met his friends. Like, that was a letdown for me. Also, the surprise pregnancy. It's a romance trope, I guess. And it's not for me. It's not one for me. Unless abortion is on the table. And then I'm like, okay, well, like, okay, let's see how this goes.
Yeah, it was really disappointing. It was like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And also when they were like, oh, we can't do this while you're in the state. She's like, what state? I'm like, bitch, you're pregnant. You don't know what state you can't have a CT in?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
I will say that I was shocked. Like the baby to me did one good thing, which was shock me at like where the title came from. Like when we eventually hear the line, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool.
I agree.
Like, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah.
I took a note. I was like, okay. Because you know, when you see the book in the beginning, like it ends with us. And I'm like, oh, who's us? Like,
yes, exactly.
Right. Like what ends with who?
Yeah.
And so I did like that. Since we're on the cover or the title, let's talk about the cover. These smashed orchids on the ground.
Shattered orchids. Yeah.
Can I just tell you, if this was a huge missed opportunity to have shattered lilies on the ground.
Or
her name is Lily.
Lilies.
Yes. Like, why an orchid? I thought we were going to get orchids at some point in the book. I just was like, what?
To me, like I was being really generous. There's also orchids on my book on the cover, but I was I was like, what, why the orchid? And I was like, well, they are known for being actually extremely strong. Like they grow on trees in the rainforest. So they're very strong, but they look really delicate because they're really hard to have as like houseplants. Like they're very fragile. But that was my very generous read. I have no idea. Do love the pink though. I do love the pink.
Love the pink.
Love the pink.
I like the font for It Ends With Us, but I just couldn't get over the fact that
the
girl's name is Lily.
Is there wood?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it sort of looks like wood paneling.
Yeah.
Shiplap, probably.
Yeah.
I really was upset that it wasn't lilies. I just felt like we're doing this whole lily blossom bloom thing, and then you're gonna give me a fucking orchid. I don't think the word orchid is in the book.
Yeah.
Also, her flower shop sounds horrible. Steampunk flowers?
Yeah.
What in the Caucasian hell is that?
And I want to talk to you after you've seen the trailer, because have you seen pictures of what the flower shop looks like?
No, I have to look it up.
It looks like the Shire from like Lord of the Rings. It looks like almost what you'd see in Disneyland, a Disneyland exhibit of what this would be. It is like the most extravagant, large flower shop I've ever seen, with like planetariums hanging and moss growing everywhere. It's like, I feel like they're really leaning into like her frumpy, like,
oh my God, I see it. Okay, if I'm being honest, it looks better than what I had envisioned.
Good. This is like the kind of flower shop I want to see when in this kind of adaptation, because it's like, if I'm suspending reality to believe that a 23-year-old like could open a brick and mortar in Boston, like I want to see something extravagant like this.
Yes, I don't hate the depiction of that, but it is absolutely insane. It's like doing the most. Doing this. Okay, did you believe that Colleen Hoover was writing a 23-year-old, or did you feel like a 40-year-old woman was writing Lily?
I do feel like a 40-year-old woman was writing Lily.
Same. Yeah. One of the dead giveaways for me was when she was like, Ellen, have you heard of Harry Connick Jr.? Oh. He would be a killer guest on your show. He's so funny. I love him.
I was like, what time are we in? Like, why is this child talking like they've never been on the internet? Like, it was just very strange. It was, it did not feel like a 20-year-old.
It was 2008. That's when that was. Because remember, she's like, you're talking to the future, maybe a future president, Barack Obama. So that was 2008. But there were just so many parts. Like there was also a part where when she's 23, which I also didn't believe, where she's like, I didn't want to text Ryle because I didn't know what text etiquette was. I'm like, it's 2016, girl. You know what text etiquette is at this point.
Yes.
Like everyone's texting everyone. There's no etiquette. It's a Wild West out here.
Was anyone posting on social media at all in this book ever? I guess maybe I don't. I
don't think so.
Bizarre. Also, the fact that she wasn't like, will people even go to a flower shop these days? Like no one's asked that. No one asked that.
No one asked that. That's so true. It just, And I also feel like the difference between her voice at 15 and her voice at 23 was non-existent. Like when she writes that late journal entry after everything, where she's like, she writes to Ellen as an adult again. I was like, this is the exact same writing. Same vocabulary, same everything. Okay. This is what we have to talk about before we go. I want to talk about just like Colleen Hoover as a literary icon figure. Do you feel like you have a sense of how she is who she is after having read this book? Why she's so famous? Why her?
I think that like most of our readership does enjoy this book. I do think a lot of women in my family probably would have enjoyed this book if they wanted to sit down and read. I do think, it's like the same argument when we talk about commercial fiction versus genre versus literary. Like I do think there is a market for this. And I do think the majority of readers are enjoying books like this. So I'm not shocked. And a lot of the rage, I think for me, came from the language, like not so much the domestic abuse. It was like, I cannot believe we are letting away with full voice characters like this or speak like this. But I do think like, I'm thinking of my friends who aren't necessarily readers per se, but I'm like, they would love this shit. They do love this shit, you know?
Yeah.
And so, it's not for me, but it's like the same way sometimes when, just like the elections. And so I'm like, oh, wow, we are a large country and a lot of us want different things.
Yeah. I feel like I got a better sense of why people like this. I think first and foremost, and I actually don't mean this in a super shady way, though it is going to sound shady. And you guys know me. When I mean something in a shady way, I never preface it like this. So I really am trying to be generous here. I think one of the main reasons people like her work based off this book alone is that it is written at a 6th grade level. So it is easy to read. Like you never have to look up a vocabulary word. You never have to stop and be like, what's she talking about? She never does like 10 pages of description of the flower shop. It's purple. There's some steampunk elements. There's a clock. And like, that's it. It doesn't ever get bogged down. It moves extremely fast, even though I would have liked it to be about 100 pages shorter. And so I think like, when we think about books that end up becoming huge successes, like huge, I'm thinking like Twilight or like these books are written for young adults and they're written at a young adult level, which I think is probably closer to 8th grade than it is to high school. I mean, you would know better than that. But like, I think that is I think the biggest piece about what she does is that the writing is extremely basic. So it is, there's no barrier to entry. You don't have to be a good reader. You don't have to be a fast reader. You don't have to be a thoughtful reader. You don't even have to think about a simile or a metaphor if you don't want to. Like you can just open the book and go. I also think she is a white blonde lady and that really fucking helps. Right? Yeah. Like what's not to like about this sweet white girl from Texas who writes about love? And then I think the other part of it is that the book is extremely emotionally manipulative. And I think like she is making people feel like it's deep, right? Like this is so deep. We're talking about domestic violence. So you feel like you're getting something with your fluff. And I think for people who don't read a lot, that's extremely attractive. I mean, again, not to bring it to Grey's Anatomy, but like we love Grey's Anatomy because it's sort of deep and fluffy.
Yes, exactly. It's like groundbreaking romance, I would say. Like for the genre, this is like fantastic, incredible.
Yeah. I mean, I think like
the sex scenes. We haven't talked about the sex. Like,
oh yeah. I thought they would be sexier. I thought it would
they
be
were
more.
not good. The sex scenes were not good. And in fact, I think I like skimmed some of them. I was like, I already know what we're getting.
Well, and there's not that many for a 400-page book.
No,
there's a lot of like making out early on. They don't have sex till page, I think 122, I think is where I took the note. I thought there would just be more. Like, I think they only have sex like a few times.
Yeah.
I think there's a few times where it's like.
They think about it a lot. They talk about it and they
think about it a lot. Yeah. And everyone's penis is an iron. It's a hot iron, hard and hot. I feel like the iron, I was like, that's an interesting metaphor. I'd never heard that one, but it's weird. Hot and hard and you can feel it through the scrubs. You can always feel it through the scrubs. I also think the other thing about, obviously like social media has really helped her, but I also think like maybe because it's sort of like a gateway kind of book. If you like this, it opens the doors for you to like other things. And so I think a lot of people tell folks to start here. And so I think that helps too, because like, even if you think like back to when you were a kid, you remember the books you loved when you first started reading because they are like, it's like a first experience for you.
Yeah. Yeah. My students actually were like, I asked them, I was curious. I was like, have you guys read this? And they were like, yes. And I was like, did you like it? And they're like, when I read it in 7th or 8th grade, I thought it was groundbreaking. I was like, oh my God, you were reading this in 8th grade. And then they're like, but now that I read it, I don't think it's as groundbreaking. But I was like, oh my gosh, as a 7th grader, this would have been the best book I've ever read in my life.
Best book ever. Well, so I was talking to some friends about this book because they asked me, they were like, well, do you get why? And I was like, I think because it's just like really easy to read. And I was like, sort of like Twilight. And they were like, well, Twilight was for YA. So you had YA and adult. And I was like, well, this is adult, but also for YA. Like, I think this is definitely a YA book, especially because of the editorializing she does. Like the scene with the mom where it's like, don't forget your limit. Like that whole scene where it's like, I thought my mom would be mad at me, but she understood. Like all of that it feels so YA in like the way that it is, in the way and places it is preachy. And also she does give you everything you want in this book, right? Like she gives you the romance with the hot guy who then turns out to be a monster. She gives you Atlas. She gives you the scene where you see Atlas. She gives you the confrontation with the boys. She gives you the mom having, like, she hits all of the marks of because I was definitely like, when are we getting the scene with the mom? And I was like, maybe it's never going to happen. Like she's not telling her mom. And then we got it.
She somehow hid her pregnancy from her mom until she was showing, which I was about. Yeah.
And I'm like, also, your mom lives in Boston. It's not like you're like doing FaceTime with her and she can't see you. I'm like, anyways, but yeah, I feel like she hit, like it or not, she hit the marks in the book, right? Like she did what needed to be done. She did what her readers wanted. I think it's extremely easy to digest, especially considering like the topic. Yeah. Because there's versions of this book that are probably like make you sick, right? Like not romance, 100%. But like if you,
yeah. No, I mean, I never question. I mean, just there is immense value in like respect and who she is, you know? So I never, when I picked it up, I was like, I know I'm going to find why, like, I'm going to understand. I mean, also I just know people, we know people, I know people. I'm like, of course I know why this book is doing well. And so, yeah, it was more so just eye-opening for me to understand more why and see what she does well. And then other things be like, oh my God, I could never say that and feel good about myself, but okay.
No, I mean, but I also like something, I can't remember who it was, but I think maybe it was Tia Williams, the romance writer, said to me was like, I could write literary fiction. Literary fiction authors could never write romance.
Ever.
And I thought, and I would love to see some of our faves try to write a book like this.
I admire like the shamelessness that like Colleen Hoover has in my, like, there's so many things that I find so cliche that like I could never say with a straight face or feel okay saying that. Like she just goes for it and it does well. Like they're cliches for a reason. It feels good to people. It is familiar to people. It does well. It sells. But like I like all power to her. But like I my ego would keep me up at night, I think.
Yeah, totally. Okay. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else we didn't talk about that we absolutely have to talk about? Is there anything that you feel like we missed? Well, I guess actually the ending. Do we buy the ending with she has the wait, no, we have to go back slightly before that. The scene, this was the most unhinged scene of the whole book for me. Oh my God, I can't believe I almost forgot this.
Which one?
When she has the baby and they're in the hospital. And she's like, I know what I have to do. No, she's like, this is our baby's name, Emerson Dory. I know what I have to do. Ryle, I want a divorce. Ryle, look at our baby. What would you say to her if a man ever pushed her, if hit her? And I'm like, you are 15 minutes postpartum and you are doing this? You have named a baby, had the dad hold it, filed for divorce, and also shamed the dad to the point where he is weeping over your fucking baby's body. And you can't protect that baby. You are out on the bed and you're fucking poking the bear. I was like, what?
That's exactly what it was. I was like, you potentially triggering this man to the point where he's going to throw this baby at you.
Right. And not to victim blame, but I'm just like, this is an extremely emotional moment for everyone, including the baby who has just gone from being in your lovely amniotic fluid filled womb to being in a room with you people. And I just was like, wow, we're doing all of this right now, right here. Like she was like, wait till I have the baby, then I'll decide. And she meant that very literally. Immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
That was wild.
And that was for us. I feel like that moment was for readers. Like that was like, that was like, let's go out on a bang here. Strong woman.
Yeah. Okay. And then the ending, the epilogue where she casually runs into Atlas on the street.
Yes.
And then
obviously, I loved that because I wanted them.
You love it
the whole time.
You love because you know the sequel. It Starts With Us is about Atlas and Lily.
Yes, I did hear that, and I could not believe that's It Starts With Us is the title. But yeah, I was really happy. I was waiting for it. I was like, she has to end up with Atlas. So I was really pleased.
Okay. I mean, I don't care. I hate Atlas, but like, I don't hate him. I'm just like not into it. I'm like, could you just meet like, I don't know, like an Idris Elba type maybe, and then we could just go do that. Like we need Lily needs more dick. Okay. She needs fresh relationships. I think, okay, this is the last thing I want to say. You know how the whole book is framed around naked truths?
Yeah.
I am shocked and appalled that they never spoke about half of these things before. Like this whole book is solved if as they're dating one another, he's like, so you mentioned you slept with the homeless guy. Tell me that story.
This is like what I don't understand about so many relationships that like people don't talk
You just talk about nothing.
Yeah.
You never thought, oh, over dinner tonight, I'm just going to bring up your dead brother and see what that's about. That must have been really hard for you.
To the point where you have to have this bit of saying naked truth to like, and like almost like create a separate party relationship to deliver this thing. And then you leave it there and you go back to your life. You don't talk about it.
Right. I buy that I guess the way that Colleen Hoover makes it work is that Lily's so young and Ryle's never been in a relationship. But I just thought it was weird because like their whole relationship is built on like telling each other the truth. And he never once said to her, hey, how are you doing with the grief of your dad? You mentioned that he beat up your boyfriend in high school. What was that? His name was Atlas. What a name. What was that about?
Yeah.
What a name. I'm like, this whole book would be solved. I feel like that's one of the things with romances that's always really hard for me. I'm like, you're adults. You guys never spoke about any of this. I would be too curious to be like, your brother is dead. What happened?
100%. And like, you also knew he was going to eventually find her diary. We all knew he was going to eventually find it. He's going to eventually read it.
I didn't see that coming. I didn't see the diary coming. I mean, I should have. I just wasn't thinking about it. But yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
I was scared. I was scared when Ralph found it. I was like, oh no, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, that whole scene, she does a good job writing that scene. It's pretty scary. You know something's up. And Lily's like, oh, he wants to have sex with me. I'm like, Lily, girl, you're in danger. Get out. And when he makes her take the shirt off, that was fucked up.
Also, is that when he bites her?
After that.
That I didn't see coming.
She runs to the room. Her back is to him. And he comes up behind her and like grabs her. And then he bites her shoulder.
That's when I thought we were going to do like a Twilight twist or something, like werewolf. Like,
he's a vampire?
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is, okay, another element I didn't know we had in this book.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We did it. We did Colleen Hoover.
We read it.
For those of you who are still here, I'm sorry if you're mad at me, but honestly, wasn't this fun? This was a great time.
Let's do it again.
This was a joy. Let's do it again.
It's the best. Round 2.
Our book club pick for next month, you'll have to find it out at the end of this episode, but I'll tell you this. It is not Colleen Hoover, and you guys are going to be excited, okay? One for me, one for you. you guys have to read Melissa's book. It's called Oye. It's out in the world. You can get it. I did audio and print. Both. I co-sign. It's fun. If you want to read about a teenager, young person who sounds like a teenager and also isn't opening a fucking flower shop, even if there's an orchid on the cover, that's a book for you. Melissa, thanks for doing this with me. Thank you for being game for Coho.
It was so much fun. Thank you.
Everybody else, we will see you in the stacks. All right, y'all, that does it for us today. Thank you so much to Melissa Mogollon for being down to discuss Colleen Hoover on the podcast with me. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to Andrea Pura for helping to make this conversation possible. All right, now it is time for our July book club announcement. We are taking on a modern classic, Parable of the Sower by the legendary Octavia E. Butler. This book was written in 1993, and it is a post-apocalyptic novel that starts in July 2024. So you know we had to read it because I love to be timely around here. You have to listen to our episode on July 3rd to learn who our guest will be for this discussion of Parable of the Sower, which will air on July 31st. If you love The Stacks and you want inside access to it, head to patreon.com/thestacks to join the Stacks Pack and check out my Substack at tracythomas.substack.com. Make sure you're subscribed to The Stacks wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you're listening through Apple Podcasts or Spotify, be sure to leave us a rating and a review. For more from The Stacks, follow us on social media at The Stacks Pod on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok, and at The Stacks Pod _ on Twitter. And you can check out our website, thestackspodcast.com. This episode of The Stacks was edited by Christian Duenas with production assistance from Lauren Tyree. Our graphic designer is Robin McCrite, and our theme music is from Tagirigis. The Stacks is created and produced by me, Tracy Thomas.